morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning, February 18th, and we are going to make a thing called Firecider. And you're like, what is Firecider? Basically, it is a homemade concoction with apple cider vinegar. There's tons of different variations of recipes online. I'm going to do my own. I'm kind of like hybriding a bunch of different stuff together. It's kind of like your particular taste. There's certain things that you need in it, like citric. You need like garlic, you need the pepper and ginger, and then something spicy like jalapenos, red pepper flakes, or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm doing, and it's going to take 3 to 6 weeks to ferment. But I want you first to see my apple cider vinegar. This is the one that we started on 10/16. It was done on 11/16. Look at this. This is amazing stuff. And you see this right here, this like big blob, that is a huge mother. That has all the nutrients, all the good stuff in it. My dog interrupt this. Anyway, this blob is like this big, and it's about that thick, and that is amazing. That means it's doing what it needs to do. So, why do you want to have Firecider? Basically, it's a great antioxidant, immune booster. It helps curb cravings, sweet cravings, if you're trying to lose weight. I'm not saying it's a weight loss miracle thing, by far, no, but it helps with that. It helps ease your sinus and boost your energy levels. You only do 1 to 2 tablespoons a serving. Start off at like 1 a day. You can use these in your cooking, they say. However, if you do that and you cook with it, I'm wondering if you cook out some of the nutrients. So raw is always better when you're doing this. So this is how we're starting out. This is how I'm making it. We have 1 gallon jar. Someone gifted me a ton of pineapple. I had like 8 pineapples. So I'm using pineapples in mine because I like the juice, I like the flavor. So I'm not really doing any measurements. We're just gonna do it by the jar. So we wanna fill this jar up. So I'm gonna put in probably, I'd say about 3 cups of pineapple. You know, maybe 2 cups of pineapple. Then I have a whole bunch. I got gifted a whole bunch of oranges and lemons. So here I have 3 lemons that I just sliced up. And yeah, leave the peels on them. It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. So I have my lemons and my onions that I'm sticking in here. Might take me a minute. And you can layer these, but I'm gonna kind of shake it up when we're done. But just make sure you stick everything in there. I was really lucky. I got gifted a bunch of citrus, so I am going to have to figure out what to do with it with my extra pineapple, and I got a ton of jalapenos gifted to me. I'm going to make a pineapple jalapeno spicy jelly, which will be really good. Right, so then I have onions, and no, I did not peel my onions, skins and all. Skins actually have a lot of nutrients in them, and I'm just squishing this down here. I did 2 onions. You could do a little less, and yes, I'm even using the butt of the onion, that's what I call it. And yes, again, I was gifted a crap load of ginger, and this stuff is expensive, so I keep it in the freezer. I kind of slightly peeled my ginger. I just scraped it off a little bit, but left the rest of the skin on. Again, I don't care that it has skin on it. Okay, it's not a big deal to me. So I'm just putting everything in the jar. Okay, everything's in the jar. Oops, I need to get some jalapenos in there, so I'm going to kind of squish this down a little bit. So hang on. So now this is where the fire comes from. I have a crap load of jalapenos. Now I just sliced my jalapenos up. The seeds are still in there. So this is going to be really spicy. So let me get a glove because I don't want to touch this in my hand without, I can wash my hands. I'm just doing like a handful, 2 handfuls of jalapenos. Okay, so that's all the major stuff that I'm putting in there. Now we need to kind of put in the herbs that we're going to put in there. You can put in rosemary and thyme is a good thing in. I just have a bunch of thyme left over from last year, so I'm just going to, last summer's garden. So yep, I'm just sticking it in there. All right. I also need some black peppercorn. Okay, so I'm just putting in probably about a 1/4 cup of black peppercorn. With black peppercorn, you need to do turmeric. I don't have fresh turmeric. I know you should have fresh turmeric. All I have is some powdered stuff, so I'm going to throw that in there. Probably about a capful. Because with black pepper and turmeric, They work with each other to help them absorb better into your system. So if you're doing turmeric, you probably always want to pair it with a black pepper. You also want a little bit of garlic in there. Again, I'm probably going to be doing about, I would say, a little less than a quarter cup of garlic. Some of the good juices in there. And then finally, there's some jalapenos. We're going to do some cinnamon sticks. Okay. And this stuff will ferment 3 to 6 weeks. I'm going to have it set probably for 6 weeks. And so I'm just shoving this cinnamon stick down in there. Because some of these fruits will break down over time. So I'm putting in about 7 or 8 cinnamon sticks. All right. So everything I think I have to put in there, let me see, is in there. Okay, so it's all good to go. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my awesome apple cider vinegar and I'm going to pour it, and it needs to cover everything. Okay, you do not want to leave any exposed parts because that can cause a mold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this in here, and then I'm going to let it set for a minute, and I'm going to bubble it. Okay, so I'm going to the top, and bubbling means, hang on, I just have these big wooden kebab sticks, and you just go down and you poke down in between so the water can settle in between all the nooks and crannies. The reason you do that is because naturally over time that stuff is going to settle, and you want to get, see how it's kind of bubbling? I don't know if you can see it here. I'll see if I can do it on one side here. It's kind of bubbling through, and the stuff is kind of going through. The peppercorns are going down. You want that to go down, and as I'm doing that, the level is going down, so I'm going to have to put in some more apple cider vinegar. With things like this, you really want to make sure you do that so you get enough liquid in there. It's also helping to push the turmeric down into it. Oh, the apple cider vinegar smells so good. I'm never going to go back to store-bought because it's so easy to make and it tastes so much better. It's still acidic, you know. So here we go. All right, so I'm kind of pushing down as I'm going to the side through the fruits, and I'm kind of pulling it towards me until I stop seeing a lot of the bubbles go up. So it looks like we're doing pretty good right now. All right. All right, so now I'm going to pour a little bit more on the top until it's completely, I mean, it's going to the top. It's now completely covered. So once it's completely covered, you want to put a sealed lid on it. Now, since I'm using a metal sealed lid on this thing, you want to have a barrier, whether it be baking sheet, you know, baking paper. I have old coffee filters, okay? So I'm just going to make sure everything is covered. I'm going to put a coffee filter on top. Here we go. And then I'm going to put a lid on top. And I'm going to make sure that it's sealed really good. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this upside down. Okay, see those bubbles? See the difference in the thing there? The pineapple's down at the bottom. I'm going to kind of shake it up a little bit. Bring it back up. Bubbles are coming back up. And one more time. Hang on, I got to take this off. Okay, sometimes I get them on too tight and I can't get them off, so I got this really handy, if it would work, Pampered Chef. There we go. And it kind of grabs the lids and helps you turn it for force. Okay, so now I'm taking this off and I'm going to get another one. I'm just going to again push down, recheck it, make sure everything's covered. Now the herbs are going to float up, the peppercorns are going to float up, and the garlic might float up. I used minced garlic because that's what I had. I didn't have any whole garlic, so I think minced garlic would be fine. Hang on. Okay, so I got a new one. So I'm just going to wipe the lid up a little bit. And the reason you want this barrier on here because you're dealing with vinegar, and vinegar and metal react to each other. So put my lid back on, a new one. It's on there. This is now dated as today, 2/18/12. I'm going to check this probably at about 3/15, which is about 3 weeks. Then I'm going to go back in. I really wanted to ferment and get some really good flavor and good depth in it. So I'm not going to take this out till 3:30. When I take it out on 3:30, I'll come back. We'll do a part 2 later because I'm going to strain everything out of this. Okay, and then I'm going to add honey to give it the sweetness to it. And natural honey, obviously. So anyway, this is apple or Firecider. Again, it's just a mishmash of things I had in my kitchen. So we will talk to you guys later and have a great Sunday.